Oh, God.
That's the best way to start. Last minute podcast episode number 1. I totally forgot what we were at.
152.
3?
We're in the
150s.
Hang on.
Regardless,
We
Dan
are
and Greg are here, and we have another guest host, Tyler.
First time.
Hello. Yeah.
I was going to say first time caller, but that doesn't
long,
make sense.
Long time, first time.
Long time, no time.
You love me long time?
So,
You guys never answer my calls.
no, we don't.
We are 154.
154 now. Okay. Yeah, we're making it up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we forget, I'm reading a message from Cam because he sent this to us like 3 weeks ago, and we just keep forgetting to read it.
Well, it's because he's unimportant.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I don't care about him.
Well, that's just not nice.
He would say the same about me.
Okay. I'm trying to find it. Don't know where it is.
Oh, jeez. Daniel, you got to be more prepared for this.
I'm trying.
As you can tell, we're really prepared to talk about a lot of sports today.
Message from Cam that is 100% real.
100%.
True.
Yes.
It was, in fact, my mother's birthday last week. But since these messages that I have asked Dan to read on the podcast have gone unread, yes, that is true. It further proves that Dan and Greg have locked me up in a dark room and thrown away the key.
Nice.
I heard the mean words Greg and Dan have said about me. I'm pretty sure that was just Greg. And the gloriously mighty Flyers since my departure. And upon my return to the podcast, I'll be holding a press conference to restore my good name that we have besmirched and dragged through the mud. He will escape this dark room they have locked me up in. He will rise like a phoenix from the ashes. Fury will have the floor, and there will be hell to pay, gentlemen. A storm is coming. Be warned.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Cameron, we're not scared of you.
I don't know.
You guys remember where you put the key?
Has anyone also noticed the fact that Luke hasn't
The
commented
joke on him is actually
since Cam's been gone?
the door's actually open. There's we just closed it.
Yeah.
We told him there was a key, but there is a key.
Yeah. He's just too scared.
Yeah, Luke. Do you know about Luke? He's
Cam.
Cam's a very passionate Flyers fan.
And there seems to be a
And
random...
there was another passionate Flyers fan who was commenting on YouTube and claimed his name was Luke. And he agreed with everything that Cam said that was total BS. So, there was a long-running theory that Greg and I had that Cam was Luke.
I still believe in this theory.
I mean, have you seen them in the same room?
No.
We haven't.
No, we haven't.
So,
He's denied our Skype calls. It's kind of rude. So, not a ton of news to talk about, of course. There's some signings and some other just news and articles that we found. So I guess just to start with one of the bigger things, have we talked about the Andrew Copp signing yet?
no.
Because I think that happened after last podcast.
It always happens the next day.
Yes. So Andrew Copp signed a 2-year, $1 million per year deal. Pretty much a bridge contract. I think this is a show-me deal for the Jets, saying, what are you going to do?
Yep.
It depends what kind of role they're going to let him have this year, because he's shown in very small sample sizes that he can perform at a top 6 level, but he's not given top 6 ice time. And I don't think he fits into this team's top 6.
Yeah. It's hard to say who he's going to actually push out to play in the top 6.
Yeah.
I think he's lucky if he makes the third line.
Well, yeah.
I think Adam Lowry's third line center.
But I
As
think
much as
Copp
I
could
feel,
play on the wing, though.
I feel like for that, well, that is true. I feel like for them to be a strong team, I personally think Adam Lowry should be their fourth line center, because that means their third line center is even better than Adam Lowry, which is not a slight to Adam Lowry. I'm just saying, your fourth line center is better than that, than your forwards that are.
Yeah.
You have depth. You have,
Well, and they have the bodies. They just need to figure out, what's the best fit for everybody.
fit the pieces. I was looking at they did like a preview, and they had their projected lines for the year. Their top 6 is fantastic, but their bottom 6, to me, everyone thinks they're really deep. I think their bottom 6 could be a little better, because right now I think they had third line was Copp centering Kyle Connor and Joel Armia, and I think the fourth line was Matthias, Lowry, and Patan or Dano. So to me, that could be. I still think they could, do something, but
I think a Matthias, Armia, Lowry line would be good.
well, that's what they had last year, and it was so good.
that
And
line was great.
and everyone was saying, that's their third line, but it should be their fourth line. They should have a third line that's a little, Because there's basically the theory is if that can be your fourth line, that's amazing. Because
Yeah.
they're a very good line, you know.
Well, and that's the
But-
whole like rolling four lines thing. When you have to play against teams like Nashville and Chicago who have depth, not so much Chicago anymore, but who have depth, especially in this division, you have to be able to roll four lines. You have to.
Yeah.
You can't be a
for sure.
three-line team. And being able to have that kind of talent like Matthias who can score, Lowry who's a very, very underrated center, and then you have Armia, which we don't really know much about still. He's still getting his footing in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a competent fourth line. It's a competent third line, but I'd rather have it be my fourth line, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But it depends who wants to slot in on
Well,
the third line.
And I think it's pretty like.
Can Kyle Connor score at a decent pace in the NHL next year?
Well, and I was just gonna say the fact that they haven't gone out and signed really any depth forwards, to me that's a sign that Kyle Connor's gonna be on the team next year.
Yeah.
Because if he's not, there's kind of a big hole there. I mean, and he could even push into the top six. He might push Matthew Perreault onto the third line. You know, which, I mean, you know, it's never a bad thing to have a problem about where to fit guys because it means your team's deep, right? But I don't know. I just think their forwards could be. I think they could bring someone in for their bottom six. I don't know. I still like. I think we talked about this before, but Thomas Vanek, he's not signed. You could probably get him for pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I think he had 56 points last year. I'll double check that, but I mean, if you
And
can
Joe
get him,
McGinley's still available.
yeah. I mean, just to me, like the Thomas Vanek, if you take him on a 1 year, $1 million contract, sorry, he had 48 points last year. But I mean, if you can get him for on a 1 year, $1 million, even $2 million, and he puts up 40 points, I don't see what the problem with that is.
I'll take that any day of the week
Yeah.
compared to what the Leafs paid Matt Martin to score.
Hey, he's there to protect the kids.
Yeah, I've heard that before with
Instead of being
David
sick.
Clarkson, and that worked out well for everyone. No offense to David. No
yeah, but
offense
Matt
to
Martin
Clarkson.
makes like a sliver of what David Clarkson makes. So.
Just under a half.
He makes that much, really?
Matt Martin makes $2.5 million a season.
Yikes.
Exactly. For another 3 years.
Hey. Okay, I take it back. That's a bad signing.
It's a terrible signing, and I remember last year being like, why do they do these things? They make no sense, the Leafs,
Yeah.
sometimes. But
Well-
regardless, the Jets make sense in most of their signings. So I'm with you. I think that if they can go out and they can get one of the other eight, or bring back Drew Stafford,
Oh, that's the other thing, too. He's available.
or go after Yogs.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the Yog.
How awesome would that
Granddaddy
be?
Yager.
Have you heard about this? There's some ECHL team that's
Yeah.
really they're like
They're pushing
tweeting,
hard for
sending
him.
some tweets and like basically trying to like scout him.
Well, see, if you're
I
an
don't know.
ECHL team, you need to get revenue somehow.
Well,
so
yeah.
you're gonna, if you bring in Yager. But the other thing too is Yager holding out because he's gonna wait until after Olympics because he wants to play for the Czech Republic for one last time.
Oh,
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like I know he wants to play, but it might be best for him to go somewhere, sign an AHL contract.
Well, I think, just my theory, I think the fact that he hasn't signed with any team yet, to me, I think there's probably a handful of teams that he will sign with right now.
Yeah.
But he won't just go to a team just to play.
No.
I think he wants to have a chance to win. So
Yeah.
maybe he's holding out, hoping that Chicago comes out. Maybe Chicago comes and talks to him, or
Maybe. Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Washington.
Somebody who's
I don't know.
got an opportunity.
Someone that he might, if he plays for another year or two.
But let's be
But
honest
if-
here. There's no way Pittsburgh's going to win back to back to back. They're not winning 3 in a row.
Not with their D core, what they've done.
No.
Their,
This is no Miami
their
Heat
D
here.
wasn't very good to begin with, and they lost They lost Ron Hainsey and they lost Trevor Daley. Which, I mean, if you look-
They're minute.
they're minute guys.
Yeah.
Someone has to fill that spot. I mean,
That's 35 minutes a night of
Yeah.
defense that you
Yep.
need to fill holes with. Now,
Yep.
granted, Christopher Letang eats up that much time himself, but you still need players.
I think they'll be a good team. I think they'll be competitive because you can't not be with the forward core that they have. But I don't think they're going to three-peat. Let's put it that way.
I think I think it'll be very hard. And
I hope they don't, because I don't want to see them win again.
No, neither do I.
If I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe like they can have that last hurrah, like when Crosby and Malkin are just like, they're like 39, 40.
Yeah.
They get that last chance where they each get their last cup. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's about other teams in the NHL. Other teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have basically locked up their entire core at this point.
And still
signing
have, and
Ondrej
still have
Palat.
cap space left.
Yes.
Please tell me how that works.
So they signed Ondrej Palat for 4 years, I think. I have it here.
I've been 5.
It was 5 years at 5.3.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Not. Damn you, Steve Yzerman. Seriously.
How does he do it? Please.
I don't know. I don't know.
Please. I would love to know.
He just.
Because let me pull up there. Because they're still quite a bit underneath the cap too.
They're getting closer now to the.
Are you
to the
worried
cap.
about their goaltending though?
It depends. Like, can Vasilevsky make
They
that
have
next
3.
step?
Yeah, they have $3 million in cap space left.
Yeah.
And their D is solid. Their forwards are good.
Yeah.
Their goaltending though. I mean, they've got Vasilevsky still. He's young. He's 22.
He's gotta perform this year, and this is his like show me year for sure.
Because he could make or break that team this year.
Oh, for sure.
Like it's almost like I'd say the talent level. Well, maybe even not. I'd say expectations for them are higher this year, but you can compare them to Winnipeg last year. Lots of good players, but if the goalie doesn't, if you don't get goaltending, you know, where does that leave?
And what happens with injuries?
Wow. Yeah, Stamkos.
Is
If
Stamkos
Stamkos
gonna
goes
play
down
all year?
again,
Can Stamkos just be healthy for a season and put 60 up again?
that'd be nice.
That'd be great.
I want him back at full health
That would be nice.
because you have one of the most elite scorers in the league down for the last pretty much since 2014. He's been
He's
hurt.
had a rough go.
He really has.
He's had a rough go. Yeah.
I like him. So
I still
much.
think they're going to be one of the harder teams to beat in the East this year.
Oh, 100%.
Assuming they get the goaltender.
They're gonna win that division. There's nobody else in that division that is as strong as Tampa Bay is.
I'd argue that they're the best team in the conference. Well, yeah. I mean,
You
like
know
I said,
Washington's gonna come out and perform in the regular season.
Dude, I don't think
you know
they're
it.
going to be good. They're going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be anywhere like
They're not gonna.
they aren't going to be the team at the beginning of the year where you're like, no, this is the year they're winning the cup. I'd be very
Which
surprised
means they
if
might win the cup.
Which means they probably will.
It's their year. Call in now.
But
The
I
one
don't-
time.
Yeah.
I just don't have much confidence in what they've done
That's
this year.
And
I mean,
Well, if they really picked anyone up, like they lost Johansson.
they lost Johansson, they lost Carl Elsner, they
Yeah,
lost who else did they lose?
Williams.
Justin Williams.
Yeah.
Where did Marcus Johansson go?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Gotta make that Jurassic Park calendar every once in a while.
Jurassic Park. Oh yeah, that was their name for New Jersey a couple years ago because they were signing all the like
Oh,
35
yeah.
plus guys.
Yeah. See what Michael Ryder's doing.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, because they got Yager. They got. I think they signed Lee Stepniak that year too. It was just like.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
They could have made a line. They probably tried to call
Mike
Jason Arnott
Camilleri.
to come out of retirement. They're like, Arnott, you won with us. Try to get Scott Niedermayer back at the same time.
Yep. See, and
It's
you
tough
look,
go for them.
You look at Washington, and they're kind of like the opposite of Tampa Bay. They're the team where their goaltending might be the thing that saves them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, he's the best goalie in the league. Well,
Holby?
Overpriced?
yeah,
See, Price
he's
is
one.
interesting.
He's one B to Carey Price, I would say.
Carey Price is so good, but he's what makes and breaks that team. Where I don't think Holtby's the same way.
Yeah.
Like
Nate Schmidt was the other guy that they lost to Vegas.
yeah. Which is funny because everyone thought they were going to lose Grubauer.
Yeah, and I still have him.
Yeah, interesting. No, but when it comes to
Excuse me, sorry.
at least most of the teams, like you might be right with Tampa Bay being the best team in the Eastern Conference because just looking at other teams, who else is competing on
That's
that
the
same
thing,
level?
right?
Who else is competing?
Like you think Pittsburgh and Washington are probably the next, like the tier below, or like you
Like
know,
New
the
York,
next-
I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers missed the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
They're going to live and die by what Lundqvist does.
I think their window's closed.
I think they're losing Stepan too doesn't help.
Stepan, they lost Girardi, who I thought was. I mean, yeah, I get contract
Depth guys, yeah,
But
they wanted to get rid of
they're-
that contract.
I mean, Kevin Shattenkirk, Yeah, is he gonna do a whole lot for them?
He doesn't make them that much better.
He doesn't make them better. He doesn't make
when
them
you
worse,
lose the guys you've lost,
yeah.
are they better now than what they were last year? And
Well,
probably not.
They lost Oscar Lindbergh to
Vegas.
Vegas. I think he was a really good young player.
I
Yeah,
couldn't fathom some of their decisions that they made. They were interesting for sure.
Like, you have to look at the East, and there's not.
Just trying to think of other teams that can compete.
Columbus, are they gonna be as good as they were last year?
Probably not.
I think they'll be good. Team that I think everyone might not be thinking about that maybe they should is Carolina.
Yes,
Not
and they
sa-
just signed Jacob Slavin for
Yeah.
a very nice contract, 7 years at 5.3 for
Like, I'm
one
not
of
saying that
the
they're gonna
darling defensemen of the league.
Yeah.
He doesn't get enough exposure,
Yeah.
but he would be on Team USA, I think, on a part of that defensive core of Team USA.
5.5 or 5.3.
5.3.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm fine with that contract, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets look at that and say, this is how we'll sign Morrissey.
5.3. Yeah.
Is he not worth it?
I think you try and bridge him for 2 years and then
Yeah, I would like
and
to see
then
a couple of years.
and then give him that five
Yeah.
and a half maybe, because then it buys you some time because you can eat up some of Bufflin's contract.
Yeah, you have to.
But I think Colton
Still.
Parayko getting 5.5.
Oh, yeah.
I think for the Jets for Trouba that
was a
kind of
great deal.
says,
This is.
I don't think they're going to get him for that, but they can use it kind of on their side as leverage to
Colton
say.
Parayko's a very.
The thing with the defenseman is the market is so stupid because Colton Parayko gets 5.5, but Dougie Hamilton gets like 7. And
Dougie
then-
Hamilton's a 5.9.
Is he 5.0? Sorry. So he gets 6.
But you also have to look at the market when they sign, right? So
Yeah.
let's go back. I think it's 7, 8 years, 9 years. The two biggest defensive free agents were Ron Hainsey and Jeff Finger. They collectively made that year $9 million.
What year was this?
I think it was like 2007.
Yeah.
Was when Atlanta and Toronto signed Jeff Finger
Yeah,
and
Ron
Ron Hainsey.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Hainsey was making 4.5, and Jeff Finger was making 3.5. So $8 million
That's rough.
altogether. And it's just because that's what the market was. Like, there was no other defenseman out there, so you were going to overpay for defensemen. So right now, there's such a plethora of good young defensemen that teams can leverage that and say, you know what, Colton, like, you're great and all, but this is all you're worth.
Well, he's only played 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trouba's played what? 4?
4.
5?
You know what you're getting with him at this point. Like, Colton Parayko has been pretty good, and he's good enough to give St. Louis the confidence to say, we're fine losing Kevin Shattenkirk.
Mhm.
We're fine with losing that contract. And that
What do you guys think Trouba's like? Is he still
6.5.
is he still coming in? Like, is he asking for 7?
Oh, I'm sure he is.
7? Yeah.
It's and then it's got to be how Cheveldayoff wants to evaluate Trouba. Is Trouba your best defenseman? If he is, then you got to give him buff money.
I think
Buff money.
I think he was their best defenseman last year.
The most steady,
Yeah.
for sure.
He didn't put up the most points, but I think he was the best.
When he's healthy, he's an elite defenseman. When he's healthy, he just needs to be healthy.
Yeah.
And last year he was pretty much. I think he played every game, almost every game once he came back from pulling out.
Yeah. No,
And
he
that-
did. He
it's-
did. And he was great, steady Eddie.
It's-
And he was like that Trouba the first year where he was being physical. He was a dangerous player,
Yeah.
which he kind of went away from the the couple years after his rookie year. He didn't look so good. I mean, I'd be shocked if Josh Morrissey, Jacob Trouba is not their top D pair opening night.
It should be.
It should be.
It should be.
Whether it will be,
We'll see.
because they seem to have they love Dustin Bufflin. I'm not saying anything bad about Buff,
But Buff and Kulikov, they start.
Yeah.
And then you start Little's line.
and you have Myers and Enstrom as your third pair. That's a second pair on probably every team.
They have very good defensemen.
They just have to actually play solid.
This
defense.
is their year to be. We're making the playoffs, and they could actually win a playoff game.
They
It could
might
happen.
They might
it
do
could
it.
happen this year.
They might do it.
It's a real thing.
Oh,
They have the everything's in place for them to actually be able to win.
I think it has to happen this year. I don't think they have a choice.
I don't know about has to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if there's still some growing pains.
If they don't make the playoffs this year, there's big changes. Coach,
Something's
GM,
happening. Yeah, something's gonna
something
happen.
big. They have to make the playoffs.
It's
They
I
can
think
lose
it's
in the
that-
first round, but they have to make the playoffs.
Yeah, because
I think.
this is also the year that they can really take advantage because no Hossa in Chicago, and Chicago's going through their own
I think
pains right now.
I said this before. I don't think they're making the playoffs.
You have basically Nashville and whatever you want to make of Minnesota, and then Dallas.
Yep.
There's really 4 competitive teams, and then the Jets, the Avalanche are nowhere near. Either if they get 60 points next year, that'll be a good year for Colorado. But
I think you can put Chicago, St. Louis, Winnipeg in like an even level.
yeah,
I think they have to make the playoffs.
yeah.
With the money that
They'll
they've
probably make
invested and then the money that they're going to have to invest at the end of this year,
It'll be a squeak in, I think, as a wild card. I don't see them fitting in the top 3 just because I think Dallas, Nashville, and
see, I almost see them being kind of like the East was this year, where they might be the fourth team in the Central, but they're better than 3 of the 4 teams in the other division.
well,
you know what I mean?
Pacific is garbage.
You
but
know what I mean? So, I think, that's just my. I mean,
the Pacific isn't even that good.
no, you've got
Edmonton, who's still waiting to sign Leon
Edmonton.
Draisaitl.
I think Calgary will be competitive.
Calgary will take a step forward for sure.
I think having a consistent goalie will help as well
yeah.
for Calgary.
Yeah, and I think Anaheim still has a couple years left where they can be
Yeah, they're
competitive.
always sniffing.
But the
around.
Kings have kind of drifted off. The San Jose, to me, is kind of on the downward swing. I think they had their chance last year when they were in the final. I think that was their.
The first time against Pittsburgh. Yeah.
I think they're going to be like a Vancouver, where they had their chance when they were, that was their chance, and then,
You think Vegas finishes higher than Colorado this year?
that'd be tough.
It's
Race to the
it's
bottom.
definitely possible.
Their team, yeah, you know what? It could happen because they're going to be, because Colorado also plays the Central teams more than anybody else.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Which
They
doesn't
gotta-
help.
they're gonna get a tougher
Vegas is
schedule.
going to play Arizona, Vancouver. So they might.
And they'll probably win a game or 2 against. They'll probably be competitive against like Edmonton, and they'll just piss off Connor McDavid. That's all they'll do.
Yeah.
Is they'll just try to get under his skin, which
Yeah.
is the Nazem Kadri book on how to stop Connor McDavid.
There you go.
You just piss him off.
There you go.
Um,
Actually, just a fun stat. I just pulled this up and I can
Yeah.
see it right now. If you take the top 10 defensemen and based on their salary,
Yeah.
Dustin Byfuglien, far and above, has the most points out of all of the top 10 defensemen last year.
really?
PK Subban's the top paid defenseman. He had 40 points. Shea Weber's the second highest paid defenseman. He had 42. Buff's 3. He had 52 points.
Wow.
The closest guy was Doughty, 44.
And Doughty had an off year last
Yeah.
year.
So that just shows people knock Byfuglien, but for the money he's
52
making,
points.
for the money he's making for what he does, you can't really.
Wow.
You can't
52.
really.
No. When you're looking at points
fault
per
it. Yeah, I mean-
points per dollar, that's
On ice impact, that's maybe different.
well, everyone hates the Shea Weber deal, right, with PK Subban, but really was a wash at the end of the day. If you look at it, 42 points and 40 points, it's pretty much
I didn't
a wash.
hate it at the time because I thought Weber was a better player, but I've changed. I think I've come around to.
Okay. Last
The other
contract
side.
that I kind of want to touch on is Detroit signing Thomas Tatar for 4 years at $5.3 million. This is a train wreck of a team.
You don't like the deal?
I don't mind the deal. Thomas Tatar is probably one of the only guys they really have.
I thought he-
Him and
he-
Nyquist are pretty much it. But I look at their team and they just don't have guys they still only have 11 forward side, which doesn't help, but they just
And they're
don't
$3
have.
million over the salary cap.
Yeah, exactly.
How?
Well, so Johan Franzen
Franzen's
is
on
LTIR, so that'll
But
take an effect.
That'll get them just under.
That'll get them just under. They still need to sign another forward, which they did sign Martin Frick,
Martin Ferk.
I believe so. Yeah.
They signed Trevor Daley.
Sign him for $650,000 for 1 year. Yeah, they signed Trevor Daley. They make the weirdest decisions.
Their
'cause-
D is old.
and they still have the Stephen Weiss buyout.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Jimmy Howard was 33.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, that is
And is Mrazek even going to be there? Because they didn't protect
They
him, and
didn't
then that
protect him.
report came out that they didn't protect him because they don't like his attitude.
yeah, he's got a.
I mean,
Then they have that goalie down in the minors, Jared Careau, who played in the Centennial Classic. Who I don't know if that's the guy they're going to go with. The one positive is at least they have draft picks. They're not fucked on the draft pick side.
Yeah.
But they signed Franz Nielsen last season to a no-move clause deal for 5.25 or 5.25.
Yeah.
Terrible contract.
And he's 33 years old.
Yeah. Signed through. He's 38.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Zetterberg's making $6 million until he's 40, which I still think he has an impact regardless of.
I think Justin Advocator making 4.25
Oh.
is way too much money.
For a guy that doesn't put up like any points.
No, he's. Yeah.
Riley Shahan, who can't
So
score.
we're kind of all in the same boat that it's not going to be a 1 year off right back into the playoffs.
Oh no,
No.
no, they have to. They really have to. They're gonna have to make a move because they still have to sign Anatasiou.
Man, he's good. He is very good.
They have some light with Dylan Larkin, Anthony Mantha, and Anatasiou.
Yeah.
But other than that, looking at their roster, it's a
The
lot
bad news
of
is those guys are
questions.
the 3 lowest paid players, which means they're going to need new contracts very soon.
And
Yeah.
no one's coming off the books.
Yeah.
No one is coming off the
These are
books.
some bad contracts.
All you've got is Mike Green coming off next season, who makes $6 million. That's going directly to Dylan Larkin.
Yeah.
Anthony Mantha, you can probably bridge.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're fucked. You're not going to be able to re-sign Peter Mrazek. You're going to have to trade him or let him go. You might even have to do that this season just to sign another forward because you only have 11 forwards signed.
I mean, like Cronwall and Eriksson, the elder statesmen, they're signed for two and 3 more years. Like, where do they find? Like, yeah, where are they gonna find? And they just signed Trevor Daley for 3 years. Like, I mean,
The only bright spot on their defense, I would say, is Danny DeKaiser.
yeah,
Decent contract. It's not going to hurt them in the long
Not
term,
bad.
but my God, do they make terrible decisions.
yeah. They're,
Detroit is
those-
not what they used to be. They're not.
remember those years of them finding these gems? Yeah,
Yeah.
they've hit a wall.
Straight up.
Yeah,
Chicago stealing all of them.
exactly.
Well, I think Chicago's.
Well, and then you look at Tampa Bay. Ondrej Palat's a 7th round guy.
yeah,
Connor Brown for the Leafs, he was drafted in the 6th round.
Yep.
He went from. Well, the other thing I was going to mention, Victor Arvidsson also signed for, I believe it was 4 years at.
he signed for 7 years.
7 years. Sorry,
I think
Yeah,
he's making
4
4 point something.
That's good.
4.25
deal.
for 7 years.
That's a good deal.
Guy can put up points. They save money on that deal for sure. If it was, Peter Chiarelli, he's like, oh, you had one good season, $7 million. That's the difference between good GMs and bad GMs.
Max deal.
Yes.
I know.
You play on the line with Connor McDavid. Here's Connor McDavid money, 12 and a half.
I know we've crapped on Chicago already, but I just can't. I just don't get what they're doing.
I don't understand what they're doing.
They're $34,000 over the salary cap, and they only have 5 defensemen signed.
They'll send someone down to their minor league team in Carolina.
Yeah, like it's. Yeah, Carolina's quickly becoming the new Chicago.
They are.
Teravainen,
Teravainen.
Kruger, Van Riemsdyk. Yeah, I honestly.
All those deals made no sense. It's like, okay, we're going to send this guy to Vegas, and then Vegas to Carolina.
And-
Not once, but twice.
Well, I think they wanted to do it all at once, but for
Yeah.
whatever reason they couldn't,
Yeah.
so they had to do it separately. But
Pretty funny.
to me, if there's ever a year Chicago's not going to make playoffs, or is going to struggle to make playoffs,
they could
it's,
regress,
it's
for sure.
this year.
And the other guy that Nashville signed to another gem contract was Pontus Aberg, and he was one of the top AHL scorers, and he came in. He had an impact in the playoffs. I thought he was decent, but goes to show you sometimes, 23. This is his first technically NHL deal. Goes to show you sometimes it's good to have guys in the AHL, Montreal, and be able to build them up through the AHL into the NHL.
Like Chicago, one of their 5 defensemen is Michael Roosevelt. He's 38.
I didn't even realize he was still playing.
They have Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith.
Brian Campbell retired, so they can't bring him back.
Nope. They have Connor Murphy, who's a decent young defenseman.
Yeah.
Michael Kempney, who never heard of, and Michael Roosevelt.
There, yeah. Whew. They
They're-
need to move
they're
that
in trouble.
Seabrook contract, but no one wants it.
Who's going to take that?
You have to eat cap on that if
That's
you're
rough.
that. But hey, they won 3 cups, so they're allowed to
Yeah.
have this now.
How mad?
I think the Sod deal is good right now, but I think in like 2 years they're going to really regret getting rid of Panarin.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. And they knew they couldn't afford him. Kane and Taves make $10 million.
And then they bring back Patrick Sharp. I get that he's only making $800,000, but like, why?
Because you play for Chicago once, you leave, then you got to come back. It's Dustin Byfuglien's going back there at some point. He has to.
Buff. I
He
mean,
has to finish his
Ladd
career
went
there.
back. Or do you went back twice?
Yeah. You had Brian Campbell go back after he was there.
That's true.
Christopher Stieg, I believe, went back after he left.
Buff.
Bufflin needs to go
Buff's
back.
going.
Ben
Ben Eager needs to go back.
Eager needs to go back.
Forgotten part
Troy
of that Bufflin deal.
Troy Brower. Yeah, Troy Brower was on that team.
Yeah.
God, that 2010 Chicago Blackhawk team was so good.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Well, you know they're good when their MVP had got traded 2 weeks later. I mean, Buff was fantastic, and then
Yeah.
you know, that's
Oh, and then obviously Nolan Patrick signed his entry-level deal, the second overall pick of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Can't be happy with that.
And Tobias Lindbergh signed for not Tobias Lindbergh. Is that Tobias? Yeah. Yeah. The Leafs guy. The guy the Leafs drafted. Timothy Liljegren. I don't know why I said Tobias Lindbergh. Timothy
Is
Liljegren.
that even a real person?
Tobias Lindbergh?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oscar Lindbergh for New York.
Tobias Lindbergh, I
I-
believe, is a person.
I'm
as
gonna
well.
type it in right now. We're gonna see. what
We're
comes
gonna
up.
find out. Regardless, Leafs signed Timothy Liljegren. Probably doesn't mean he's gonna play with the Leafs, or it might just be a Marlies.
No,
player.
you're right. Tobias Lindbergh for Toronto.
Yes, that's where he is. He's a
22?
Marley guy. Yeah,
You're right.
He's a very decent player. He's coming up. Some news, an article to read here from the Hockey News. This came out. The players on AHL contracts can go to the Olympics. So that means guys who are only on AHL contracts, meaning Patrice Cormier, because he's not part of the actual NHL deal. He's just on AHL only contracts. So this doesn't.
So the guys that are on
Two ways?
that are signed by their club,
No.
the NHL clubs
At,
can't. go.
at the moment right now, it doesn't look that way. So like you have to be like, who are some players that I think Maxime Fortunas for the Moose back in the day, like guys like that. I think Gabriel Bork for
So Cormier,
Hershey.
because he's signed by the Moose, not by the
exactly. So he's eligible to go. So they just made kind of
So
a
does-
short list
So
of
does
guys.
Patrice Cormier make Team Canada?
Well, this is what
He probably
the
has to. Who else is gonna be
Exactly.
Who else is gonna play?
yeah. So this is what they put in for the Hockey News. Chris Connor of the Lee Valley Phantom. So that's the Flyers team. He's 33.
Jesus.
Yeah. No.
God.
He notched 38 goals and 111 points in 128 games so far in the AHL in the last 2 seasons. So that's not bad. That's about 50. That's about 55 points a year.
Yeah.
Then you have Darren Archibald, the Utica Comets, 27. He had 23 goals and 47 points last year in 76 games.
Yeah.
Chris Bork of the Hershey Bears, of course, because the guy's won so much there in the AHL, has never really been able to transfer to the NHL. He's 31. He's scored 48 goals. In his past 146 games in the AHL, he scored 48 goals and 140 points. He's almost a point per game guy in the AHL. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Then you have obviously Patrice Cormier for the Moose, who would play for Team Canada. Steve Moses of the Rochester Americans for Team USA. He's 27. Colin Smith of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Big fan of the Penguins was Michael Scott.
Yep, it's true. Yeah, very true.
Travis Morin of the Texas Stars, Team USA. Tom Kostolopoulos of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins for Team Canada. So that's kind of just, I guess, the highlights of that because
So if they go
there,
through,
it's very, very weak.
so if the NHL in fact does not go,
Yeah, it's going to be
Right.
Russia. Russia's winning.
should they just hand Russia the gold medal? Be like, here,
Yeah.
Ilya Kovalchuk, Pavel Datsyuk, Alexander Ovechkin.
Oh, Ovechkin's leaving.
You know Ovi's going.
Yeah, he's going to get
He
suspended for
doesn't
10
care.
games.
He'll
And-
take the rest of the year off. He's going.
Yeah. They'll probably be like, okay, suspension's 10 games, and you'll have some players be like, I don't know what's more important here.
Like USA is just gonna. I'm sorry, Russia is just gonna.
Oh, stomp everyone.
Yeah.
Stomp everyone. And, like,
Yeah,
Has there been a projected Russian team? I'm looking.
I don't know, but I can't wait to watch this unfold because I would love to see this totally turn around. Like they announced it in December. They're like, so we're going to send NHL players now. And all these guys that were so pumped to play for Team Canada are like, fuck.
yeah. Just crushed.
I just lost my spot to Jonathan Taves now. And Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
God, would it be nice to see Crosby, McDavid, all on the same team. And just to see, like,
Was the World Cup of Hockey only NHL players?
yeah. Well, that's not true. There were few KHL players for Russia. And that was where the Slava Voinov thing came in. And they're like, he's not allowed in North America. There's still impending charges on him. He's not allowed in. Russia, what are you doing? And he's going to play in South Korea. We're going to be able to watch Voinov again.
There we go.
Such a good player, just so shitty of a person.
Yes. Terrible human being.
Terrible human.
It's gonna be.
It's gonna be hilarious. I'm looking forward to the tire fire that's going to be this year's Olympics, and the IOC is gonna have to suck it up, and they'll have to make changes for next time. Because as much as I've knocked the NHL, this is on the Olympics. It is like they have to make a decision.
Do you think it's a done deal? Like they're not going? Or you think there's still a chance?
Oh, I think there's still a chance.
Yeah.
Until the day that Team Canada is announced and you don't see the names of Crosby, Taves,
Yeah.
and McDavid on it.
There'll be hope. Maybe they'll pull like a WWE swerve and they'll go to like announce their team, and everyone's expecting these AHL guys, and then Sidney Crosby will come out with like a Rey Mysterio mask and like knock one of the AHL guys out, and like take the mask off and be like, just stare at everyone.
Yeah. Get
That's how they should do it.
Vince McMahon to do the lineups.
Yeah. It was me, Batman, the whole time. I would pay money to watch that. That'd be good.
Who wouldn't want to pay money for
That'd
that?
be great.
Fantastic.
Turn it on its head. One other thing was there was an article released by Dom. I cannot pronounce his last name.
What does it start with, an L?
Starts with an L.
Dom L.
Dom L. You are fantastic. You have some great articles, and you wrote another great article about star power. So using a metric from the NBA and moving it over to the NHL. So basically, classifies everybody into different rankings. And
Yeah,
it made the internet very
There's
angry
5
at
tiers
him.
of players.
Very angry at him.
Here, I've got the tiers here. I didn't agree with where some of the players were placed in the tiers.
Well, there's some questionable decisions.
Which teams have it, and how much does it make sense
Okay.
to take it to the cup?
So let me get the tiers here.
So
Not tears out of my eyes.
He
Tiers
kind
of players.
he kind of starts it with saying star power is the start of a good team and it's what makes a great team, but they need a support around them to become a championship team. So star power is great, and it's different in the NHL versus what there is in the NBA, because in the NBA you can win with literally 2 guys. You can't. You can't do the same in the NHL. You can stack a team as much as you want, but the salary cap gets in your way, and the fact that you do need depth players gets in your way as well. So having high star power is great, and you know what? Like, the Jets are very high on this list. I think they're number 2.
They were number 2.
So
Number 1 was Nashville.
So the way it works is tier 1 is think year-end awards candidates. So anybody that's normally there for awards.
The best players in the league.
Yeah. Tier 2, think elite players among the best of their position. Tier 3, think all-star caliber talent among the best in the conference. Tier 4, think great players who complement players in the above tiers. And Tier 5, think of very good players who are borderline stars in the right environment.
See,
So, for example...
I think this was highly based on last year's statistics.
Oh, it really was.
Because David Pastrnak is in Tier 1. Sorry, no. Blake Wheeler was in Tier 1.
Yeah, that's a strange call.
I
But
think
it's off game score, right?
Yeah, no, I know.
Game score is a very finicky stat, and
I think Wheeler's probably Tier 2. In my opinion, he's an elite player. But to be the best of the best...
Well, I think you could swap where Scheifele and Wheeler are. But, for example, Tier 1 has guys like McDavid, Crosby, Tarasenko. Tier 2 has guys like Malkin, Pavelski, Scheifele, Panarin, Philip Forsberg. Tier 3 has players like Jamie Benn, Nicholas Backstrom, Nathan McKinnon. Tier 4 has guys like Kopitar, Carter, Nikolai Ehlers, Patrick Hornquist. Tier 5 has guys like Eric Stahl, Chris Kreider, Yager, Frolik, Mantha, Zetterberg, and that's just to name a few. There's plenty of guys. So they use
It's an
this
interesting metric. It is.
So the way it worked, Nashville was 1, Winnipeg was 2, Pittsburgh was 3, Washington was 4, Calgary was 5, Boston was 6, Chicago was 7. I'm assuming that comes after the whole Hossa thing. I don't think Hossa's a part of that. Tampa Bay is after Chicago, and then it goes Ottawa, St. Louis, Columbus. I don't know why Ottawa's on this list. It's got to be all Erik Karlsson, because Erik Karlsson's one of the best defensemen.
Karlsson's a Tier 1.
Yeah.
Tier 2 in defense.
He's Tier 2?
Mark Stone's
No,
Tier
he's
2.
Tier 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mark Stone's Tier 2.
God. But no, it's a cool. It was an interesting thing. I'm gonna link to it on Twitter.
Greg Anderson's Tier 3.
I'm gonna link to it
Sorry,
through
Tier 4.
through our Twitter. That's my plan, is to link through it on Twitter, because I want people to read this, because it did create quite the backlash. Like, people were angry Malkin was in Tier 2, not in Tier 1. There was a lot, like, why is Pasternak in Tier 1 but not, like, Tier 3? It was based on last season's game score, and game score is
What is game score?
It's a very finicky stat. I'll get the definition of how it's calculated, because it's an interesting stat.
I'm going to pull Jets Homer here and say, why is Austin Matthews in Tier 1 and Patrick Laine's in Tier 3?
Game score.
If anything,
Matthews
Toronto
contributes to more
if anything,
goals.
Laine should be in 3 and Matthews should be in 2.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, is Matthews
That's
an
hard to
elite
disagree.
player yet? I don't think so.
No,
He's a very good player.
He had 4 goals last year.
Yeah, but once. And that's why I say this.
But it's off of last season.
I'm saying, like, Jonathan Chichu would have been the top player on this list 10 years ago, because he scored 56 goals that 1 year. It's just and I get it. I get it.
Okay.
So for people wondering why the Jets are so high, Blake Wheeler was Tier 1, Mark Scheifele, Dustin Bufflin were Tier 2, Patrick Laine, Jacob Trouba were Tier 3, Nikolai Ehlers was Tier 4.
Okay, so essentially the formula, there's a formula for game score. 0.75 times the goals you scored that game, 0.7 times your first assist, 0.55 times your second assist, 0.075 times your shots on goals, 0.05 times your block shots you had. Face-offs 1 count, face-offs lost count for negatives, your Corsi 4 counts, your Corsi against counts, your goals for while you're on the ice, and goals against while you're on the ice all
Okay.
count.
Okay.
So the stats used are goals, primary assists, secondary assists, shots on goal, block shots, penalty differentials, face-offs, 5-on-5 Corsi differential, and 5-on-5 goal differential. So that's how they calculate it. So that's how, when you look at it, that's how the tiers are made up. And when you look at a team like Boston, who was decent last year, you see how they had good Corsi, they had, I think, very good shot differentials, and all that contributes to why those guys are in Tier 1, based off of the game score they had. Then goalie game score is just goals against plus the saves, like a little method there. So, with that being said, the goalies are probably the biggest value players in game score because they can have the highest game score. So that's how game score works. Just it's an interesting method. It's an interesting metric, but it's very finicky.
And you said, too, that the guy in his article said that star power is the start of a good team, but you need surrounding pieces.
Oh, you do.
So do the Jets not kind of make that, like, prove the validity of that, saying they have the second highest star power, but their surrounding pieces need to be better?
Oh,
and
for
that's
sure.
why they didn't. That's why they haven't, kind of taken the next step.
100%.
So you look at that and you go, it kind of makes sense, right?
And then you also look, the only 2 teams that don't have any stars are the Vancouver Canucks and the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So basically you have the Vancouver Canucks as a team with no stars because they don't, because they're terrible, because their GM isn't very good.
Nope.
And this is what bad GMs do to teams, essentially.
I take no pain in seeing Vancouver do that.
Oh no. Especially with how arrogant their fans were when they were doing well. They were getting as bad as Montreal.
When they were in the final?
Yeah. Well, even just like winning the President's Trophy year after year, I got so much solace in just like watching them lose.
Yeah.
Every year. I was so content because I hate their fans. But I'm sure that's what people say when, Toronto.
I'm sure when the Leafs become the best team or the Jets become the best team, everyone will start hating them too. Cause
everyone hates the Leafs anyways because they get thrown down your throat in Canadian media.
Yeah.
Which is very true, and you guys are both on the outside looking in on stuff like. With
I have
the
nothing
Leafs, right?
against people in Toronto or Toronto fans or Toronto the team. It's the media that just turns me off to them.
Turns a lot of people off
Yep.
and makes them hate the players.
Because they were fun to watch in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun.
They're a lot of fun to watch play hockey. They've got a lot of young guys who are very talented.
If you watch the game without commentary, it'd be fantastic. It'd be super
Like
fun.
watching a Leafs game live when they play the Jets.
Yeah.
Home opener, I'm going to it. I'm so
Good.
happy.
When is it?
So-
October 8th?
8th, something like that. I don't know. It's a Wednesday.
Can it be as good as the 2 games they played last year? Because the 2 games they played last year were both really fun.
Yes, except for the fact that I like when I go to games where I want to watch the Jets win because anytime Laine has the puck, I'm like, that's going to go in.
And
Like
now
you have a lot of,
and now every time he gets the puck, you're
I
gonna
just
cry-
sweat.
You're gonna, yeah.
especially like he
Grip
is
that
so
sweet
good.
a little.
Yeah.
Grip that seat a little
Ah.
tighter.
He is so good, and the fact that he does the things he does is just.
He's dangerous because you'll kind of lose track of him, and you won't be watching. Then suddenly he'll get the puck with a clear shot, and you're like, oh crap.
But it's also like it can be on his stick and off his stick in like his release is so fast.
I really hope he
and
works.
so pinpoint.
Like I really hope he works kind of on his speed and his board play
Well,
this summer.
Yeah.
Because I think if he can just be a little quicker and just be a little tougher on the boards, he's gonna be.
That's
Unstoppable.
truly the scariest thing was how well we saw him play this year.
And he had flaws.
And he had
Yeah.
flaws, but it's his first year.
Yep.
First year playing North American ice, nonetheless.
Yep.
Like, that's only going to get better.
Yep.
Well, and you saw strides from the beginning of the year to the end of the year on just
totally.
the things that you do, right? Because when you play on international ice, you have more room that you don't. That's where Dan says his board play. There's not really a lot of board play on international ice. It's very quick, go, just a
Yeah.
lot of skating.
Well, and that's you
Yep.
said speed as well. I mean, that's the first couple strides.
Yep.
That's getting that distance between the defender and getting
then
the
you-
chance to
you-
shoot.
he's got such a big body; he can use it
Yeah.
to his
Well, and that's
advantage.
the thing too. Like he's already got size. He's gonna get bigger. Like he's got no muscle on him yet.
No,
And like when you see him skating with guys like Wheeler and Scheifele and Ehlers, like those guys just fly.
yeah,
So if he can keep up, if I don't think he'll ever be that fast because he's too big. But
No, but
if he can bump his speed up just a little bit,
yeah,
like I'm not saying he's slow by any means, but just if he can be a little quicker.
just needs to gain that space.
Because I feel like a lot of times, like when he tries to go around guys, he's just a little too slow, and they can kind of read it.
well,
If he was a little quicker though,
that's one of the biggest things they always say about NHL guys is most of them are the same speed. It's those first two strides that makes the difference for everybody,
Yeah.
right? Like, you look at guys like Larkin and McDavid, who are kind of supposed to be the fastest guys. It's those first two strides that get them up to top speed like that,
Yep.
and they're just quicker than everyone else. It's quickness. It's not so much speed. Like,
Right.
it's that
Yeah,
acceleration.
that's
Not,
true.
not
Yeah.
top end speed, but
it's not how fast you
fast
go;
you
it's
get
how
there.
quick you can get there.
Yeah. Well, that's how you can see guys create that space. That's why McDavid gets so many breakaway chances, right? Is because he can have that breakaway
Yeah.
speed.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's very rare to see guys. I think 18-year-olds, it's very hard for them to adapt to that because they're used to being the guy with the puck all the time when they're playing.
Well, and
But
I'm
they
sure
don't need to be that guy chasing the
the
puck as much.
physicality too. Yeah, that's
Oh,
something you
for
have to
lining,
get
yeah.
used to for any young player.
Yeah. It's a different league than what you're playing in junior because junior is built up of you've got your 3 or 4 star guys who are going to be either NHL players or pro hockey players. Then you have everyone else who are very decent hockey players, better than me, for sure, but they're not going anywhere. So the plan is to get him the puck, and that's the way it's always been. And these guys have to learn to be more team oriented when they come to the NHL, and that's why it is why there's growing pains for a lot of players, is because they go from being the guy to one of the guys.
Yep.
It's actually going to be very interesting to see what Nolan Patrick does with
That's gonna be. I'm gonna be
The-
curious with that.
whether or not he plays this season. I'm not sure if he will. Like, I think Cam is pretty set on him making the team,
they'll
especially
probably
with
get-
them moving Braden Shen out.
They'll
But
probably give him the 9 games or whatever he can.
they'll
play.
give him the 9 games.
He's going to have every chance to prove that he can be in the
Yeah.
lineup.
Yeah.
So it's
Not sure
gonna-
about Nico Hischier though.
Yeah. But Jersey's got room,
Yeah,
I think, for him.
Same idea. They have the space.
I think Jersey will.
he's going to get the chance.
I think I think that they'll just let him play.
Could they, like, if Hischier actually develops into being a really good player, him and Taylor Hall could be a very dangerous duo.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And maybe that's what Taylor Hall needs is a top end guy.
See,
to play
Jersey's probably not far off from being not great, but
back there again.
But-
back in the
competitive
playoff, like
again.
competitive playoff team.
Yeah.
Their D
They
needs
weren't
some,
great when they made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Their
That
D,
team wasn't that great.
No, how did they even do that year?
Martin Brodeur, Voodoo.
So
It was
he's
Martin
doing-
Brodeur Voodoo. That's what it was. And the fact that they got clutch goals from the guys they needed to. They weren't a talented. They were scored by committee, right?
I
There
think
wasn't.
that's the only
stars.
Stanley Cup final in the last that I can remember where when they analyze it, they're like
This was terrible.
who's gonna win? LA. Is there any debate? No.
You have a 6 seed and an 8 seed, and the 8 seed is the favorite by a long shot.
for my whole life, I will still stand behind the fact that the Kings threw Game 5 so they could win it at home in Game 6. Because they only lost 3 games in the playoffs before that.
And they didn't lose a road game.
No.
They won every game in someone else's ice.
They threw Game 5.
Yeah. The best thing about
They
that
still
year,
only lost by a goal, but they threw it.
best thing about that year was them beating Vancouver and Vancouver fans being like, not this again. Because Vancouver was in the Stanley Cup final the year before. And then LA comes in and they're like, oh, we're the 8th seed. And no one took LA seriously. And that was the end of
That was the most dominant Stanley Cup run I think I've ever seen. I think they lost 4 games. I think they were 16-4.
Yeah, I think so.
That's crazy.
They
as the 8th seed.
But they had just
crazy.
So many players. Like, you look at that team. You look at the 2012 LA team. You look at the 2010 Chicago team. It's stupid.
Yeah.
You have Mike Richards playing amazing hockey. You still have Jeff Carter in his prime. Ondrej Kopitar. Obviously, Dustin Brown playing better than he was now.
Justin Williams.
Justin
Jared
Williams.
Stoll. Dustin Penner.
Dustin Penner, voodoo playoffs. You had Jonathan
Yep.
Quick being voodoo.
Yep.
They had Drew Doughty was a star.
Doughty, Willie Mitchell when he was the feel-good story.
Yeah.
Voinov not being terrible.
Voinov.
Not being when he was allowed in the country or on the continent.
Hey now.
Didn't they tell him that you have to leave or we'll arrest you?
That I couldn't tell you. I'm not gonna confirm or deny it because I don't want to.
I don't know, and I always
like
forget that story. But yeah. Anything else that you want to talk about?
Nothing.
It's a short one today. It's a Sunday. It's
downtime.
It really is. It's tough to get really excited about the season yet, just because it's still so far away.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it this year. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait for the season. Oh, I can't wait for it to be hockey season again.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity
It's coming.
to watch that Leaf team again. I am so excited. Not super excited about seeing Patrick Marleau, but it's okay. Maybe
You'll grow to like him.
I don't mind him. I like him as a player. I just don't know if he's gonna be what they want him to be, because I think he's gonna be.
That you're paying him $15 million this year.
All it is I just have to learn
And
that
it's fine.
he's not going to be as good as James Van Riemsdyk, but they have to get rid of James Van Riemsdyk, and he's a decent replacement, just more money.
Yep.
Because in reality, I don't think they could get James Van Riemsdyk for $6.2 million.
You think he's worth more?
I think he's worth more. You look at what he does; he's just so consistent.
Well, you look at what other guys are getting too.
Oh, like Connor McDavid. I'm not getting into this again.
No, not Connor.
Somebody called me salty, and I was like, I don't like that contract.
Not Connor McDavid.
No.
Not comparable to James Henry.
So, Ondrej Palat.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I think he might be better than Ondrej Palat.
Well,
to be honest, Palat's. I don't know.
All these contracts that get signed just scare me for Winnipeg because in the next 2 years it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, and it's gonna be bad for the Leafs too.
It'll take some juggling, but
We went through
I think they can do it.
It's gonna be tough.
I think they can make it work.
It's gonna be tough
Chevy will pull something out of his hat.
because they're gonna have to sign. We went through this. It's just
They have to sign Morrissey,
Trouba, and Morrissey are up this year.
and you gotta put Hellebuck in there at some point.
Hellebuck's got to get signed this year.
Yeah.
Line A is going to get an extension at the end of this year because they'll save money if they do that.
Hopefully.
Wheeler's up after next year. Little's up this year.
There's a lot of
Lowry
money.
and Armia are up this year. I still think Little's gone. I just don't think they can afford to keep him.
It's so unfortunate.
It's
'cause I love
terribly unfortunate.
Bryan.
He's going to be the odd guy out. And even at this point, I think Wheeler's a question mark.
Yeah.
Because if he puts up 78 points again this year, he's going to want $7 or $8 million.
He's gonna want so much
'Cause
money.
that's what he's worth. He's the contract he's been on for the last 4 years is he deserves way more money than what he makes.
Oh yeah.
So that might bite them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be 32 when he resigns.
Yeah, but guys.
How much do you want to pay him?
But I mean, Brett Burns and guys that are 32, they're getting 8-year contracts with $8 million.
Yeah, maybe they give him crappy term, a little bit too
Like,
long.
I can
but
see the
maybe
Jets
they can use
going,
that to get the price down.
Yeah, maybe they give him 8 years. Give him
Well, it's not going to be 8 years for sure.
Wheeler makes what? He makes $5.75 right now.
6.5 for.
You're not getting him for anything less than 6.5.
For 6 years.
That's my opinion. I
And
don't think.
take him to Jeez, it's just.
He puts up almost 80 points a year.
But what you need him to do is, in all honesty, the contract might look bad, but if they win a cup, if they sign him for 6 years or 6.5, and they win a cup in that 6 years, that contract doesn't look that bad.
It's worth it,
right?
Well, he's a captain too, right?
The other thing too is you have to look at who else are they going to have to sacrifice along the way to keep him there, because they clearly have a plan in place, because they wouldn't have made him captain if they just thought he's going to be a captain for 2 years and then we're going to give it to Scheifele when we're not going to re-sign him. Yeah. So they clearly have talked about it. They have a plan for him, but it's just about how does that plan fit into this team going forward.
Yep.
Because I personally don't want that to sacrifice them keeping good young talent, but they have a lot of talent on this team. They have a lot of talent in the Moose still.
They have a lot of talent. I think if they lose Blake Wheeler, I think they'll be I think it'll hurt them a lot more than people think.
Oh yeah, well,
like big time. I mean, he's been their best player. Mark Scheifele's kind of taken over that in the last year, but he's been their best player since they came back.
Well, yeah, and the city's fallen in love with him.
Yeah,
and I think he likes it here too.
It's going to be interesting.
I agree with you. It is going to be interesting
to see what, and Toronto's going to have to go through it.
God, I'm not looking forward to that. But
that's what draft and develop does.
There comes a point when it's not good because
you've drafted, you've developed, and you gotta pay.
Exactly, and if you can win a cup along the way, it works great.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't. Speaking of a team that needs to sign a player, Leon Draisaitl is still without a contract.
And we talked about that. That's going to be interesting.
Pay him
what?
$350.
What is Edmonton? Are they on the weak side of the negotiation here? Are they in trouble not being able to sign him right away? Like,
he's an RFA this year or next year?
This year. Because they're stupid. They
I
decided to keep him.
I think based on his playoff performance, I think Edmonton's at the disadvantage.
Yeah, and I think the longer he stays unsigned, I think they're more and more at a disadvantage because he's not going to sign a tender offer. He's not going to make league minimum. There's no way.
And they are going to bridge him. He won't take it.
No.
He might take a 5-year deal for 7 and then say in 5 years I want 10.
Which makes me wonder, why did you sign McDavid first, a guy who's not up yet, and you couldn't get this deal done with Draisaitl? Are you trying to drive down Draisaitl's price?
Maybe they just knew what McDavid was going to be. They just... Yeah.
I guess so. Like...
It's... I don't know, man.
He's not going to be worth the money.
I don't really care how it affects Edmonton. I care how it affects the other teams, mainly Winnipeg, because if Leon Draisaitl gets... If he's asking for $10 million, even if he gets 9 or 8... then the Jets are going to be hooped for Nikolai Ehlers.
Based off one season.
Because people were thinking Ehlers, maybe 5, 5.5. If Draisaitl gets 10,
there's no way.
Ehlers is getting 8.
Oh, which means Nylander's going to get 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is,
and I don't think
Ehlers
Leon Draisaitl
will be worth $8 million in probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. The same way that Mark Scheifele is going to be worth $8 million.
If he puts up 70, 80 points a year, he's played 2 years. Why would you give him $8 million if he's played 2 years?
Doesn't make sense.
And it's the same thing with Mark Scheifele, right? Mark Scheifele signed now what looks like a sweetheart contract in all reality for $6.125.
So good.
Why is that not Edmonton's biggest bargaining chip? Do you think you perform better than Mark Scheifele? Do you think you perform better than him?
Yeah.
Do you think so? Well, then you're not worth that much more than him, Leon. You're not worth $4 million more. You're not. Yeah. If I'm Edmonton, that's my sticking point. And if he doesn't play because he wants to make $10 million, well, maybe he should go to the KHL where he can make $10 million.
Yeah.
Because right now, as good as he is, he's not worth $10 million. That is not... It is absurd to sign a guy off 2 years for $10 million.
Yep.
Has it been
for
reported?
A second-line center.
Is it reported that he's asking for 10?
That was the rumor going around.
That's been the rumor. That he wants 10.
That his asking price is 10.
Which,
for a guy that's played 2 years. Yeah, he put up 70-some-odd points this year.
He had a good year. But if you paid everybody off one good year, that's what happens. You look at terrible teams now, and it's because they sign guys off one good year.
Yeah.
You get Detroit.
You get Detroit. There you go.
Do you really want to be Detroit?
Like 10 years ago, sure. Right now, no.
Yeah, I would take 10 years
for
ago.
For the 26 years before this year, yeah, sure. I would have been Detroit. Make the playoffs every year.
Yeah, have great players in Steve Yzerman and Sergei Fedorov. And
Well, and the hard part for Winnipeg too is it's not just Ehlers, it's Line A. Right?
Well, I mean, Line
and it's Morrissey,
Whatever.
and it's Trouba.
A, pay him
and
whatever he
it's-
wants.
I
Yeah.
also don't know how a defenseman, like, you look at PK Subban, he's 9.8. How other defensemen aren't looking at that and saying, I'm worth that much? Or I feel I'm worth that much? Like,
Yeah.
we're seeing more defensemen getting signed for $6 million, like that $5 to $6 million range, which is fine. Like, that's a good range. That soak up more minutes than these forwards do. Don't put up the same points, but affect the game a lot more, especially when you see through advanced stats just how much effect a good defenseman has on a team.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. If you have a weak link in defense, it's going to affect your team a lot more than one guy not producing.
Exactly.
I just have this fear that, you know, Jacob Trouba, number one defenseman, top right side defenseman.
Eight and a half.
He got what he wanted, right? And so the Jets are going to say, well, you know, you're our number one right side defenseman now. And he's going to say, well, Dustin Byfuglien's making $8 million and he's number two, so why am I getting paid less than the number two? Right?
No, it's very
So,
interesting. Gonna
It's
be- I'm glad it's not dealing with this season. Although they might try to extend him. Like, I would be shocked, and I think I might have said this before, but I would be shocked if he even goes to restricted free agency.
Trouba?
Yeah. Without a deal.
Oh, I think they're going to try and extend him.
Yeah. This season. I think they
I
would
also-
save money if they did it right now.
I think there's a 50-50 chance that he gets traded too. And it's not that the Jets are going to want to do it, it's that he's going to put them in a position where they have no choice.
Yeah.
And then he'll just get booed every time he plays here.
Probably.
He'll probably
mean,
get traded to, like, Chicago for something.
I'm still holding out hope. I think they need him.
I think
but
they need him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the chips fall. Let's put it that way.
And Cam has just messaged us, and this is how we'll end the
Read
podcast.
my messages, you bastard.
Yes.
All in caps.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cam.
He's very angry, apparently. Or maybe he has to yell because he's up north.
Yeah. So the
Or
only way
he has
that,
to yell because he's locked
the
in a
only
room
way that the
has
reception
key.
gets here is if he screams.
Exactly.
He yells on Twitter.
It's the only way we can hear it. But thank you for joining us for episode 154 of Last Minute Podcast. If you want to get in contact with the show, email us lastminutepc@gmail.com. Leave a comment on our YouTube Last Minute Podcast. Look at that up in the search bar on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter at lastminutepc, as well as check us out on Podomatic or anywhere you get your podcast, whether that be Google Play or iTunes or through podcasts on Apple.
Were there comments?
Last Minute
Did
Podcast.
you check?
I didn't check. I'll be honest. I didn't check. We can do a big comeback episode when Cam's back.
Cam's never coming back.
Wow. Okay.
His words, not mine.
See you next week.
No, actually, he said he was coming back.
Look forward to that.